Welcome to the Chat with Chou podcast, hosted by Chou Allegra, well-being and belonging consultant, best-selling author, and sought-after speaker. Join Chou as she connects with both new and familiar faces, showcasing their inspiring work in businesses. Together, we will explore insightful conversations, practical tips, and valuable resources aimed at fostering individual and collective growth, both personally and professionally. Let's embark on this journey towards greater well-being and belonging together. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Chat with Chou podcast. And for this month, I'm interviewing business owners, especially Black business owners. And it's my joy to actually have Monique here today. She's actually one of my clients. So this is beautiful. Welcome, Monique.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. It's an honor to be here with you.
Yeah, it's an honor to just get to chat with you now in public. We have our own side conversations often in our sessions, and now I get to share you with the rest of my world. So I'm really excited about that. So we'll just dive right in. So do you mind just introducing yourself and letting us know a little bit about who you are?
Sure. My name is Monique Jenkins, and I am the president and CEO of an organization by the name of Project Management Now. On the side, I also have another organization by the name of Evolving Toward Excellence as well.
You keep busy.
Yes.
Of
Yes, I
course.
try.
Yeah, and outside of work, if you don't mind me sharing, you are a mom. You're a mentor, you're a friend. So there's all the other hats that you wear, and you wear them so beautifully.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I enjoy every minute of it. Well, let me be honest, most of it.
There are moments, right?
There are definitely moments, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So take us back. They're gonna give us the backdrop. So now you are leading PM now, and you have evolving towards excellence and all the other things you do. But what's the backdrop? What's the backstory? How did you get to doing what you do today?
Well, it wasn't a straight shot, and this is the case in all areas of my life. I actually started my career in finance. I was working at an investment firm,
Mm,
and I was looking for a way to transition out. I enjoyed it, but I knew that's not where I was supposed to be. It was a challenge, yes. I learned a lot, but it just wasn't the thing for me. So I started volunteering on the weekends with a family member to try to get some exposure into this IT side. What did it mean? And I was taking some classes and things like that, but really trying to shift my career. It just so happens that when I was volunteering on the nights and weekends, that a little thing called Y2K was sneaking up on us. So I noticed that my internal team at the company that I was working for was preparing for it. And I would hang out with those guys and just talk to them. They were, of course, so busy, like everyone else in the IT side of things at that time. And I just asked them, hey, do you need some help on the nights and weekends? And of course, they needed an extra set of hands, especially an extra set of free hands. So I made the transition. Having that experience is what helped me get my footing on the IT side of the world. And then
mm,
from there, that experience helped me to start working in the federal contracting space because I learned the project management side of the house. And then because I've worked in project management and in the federal contracting space, some of the companies that I've got exposure to have been among the best. All of the top federal contracting companies that you would know, I've worked there. And I've got a breadth of knowledge and valuable education from supporting, of course, all of our great agencies and just learning the process by which they do things. And as is the case, I move from contract to contract. This is the nature of the business with subcontracting. And eventually I got to a place in my career where I was leading a team and I started to procure other small vendors to come in and kind of help support me on endeavors. And one company in particular, Project Management Now, was one of those companies. And we worked on one engagement, and then the engagement ended, and I went to another engagement, and then I bought them on there, and I started to establish a relationship with the owner. So they were like, one day we're going to get you. And I'm like, nah, I'm going to stay on this side of things. I'm just going to bring you guys along with me everywhere I go. And lo and behold, one day they reached out and they said, hey, we've got a great opportunity. But I got to tell you, it wasn't like I just jumped at it, because the opportunity they had for me was way out of my skill set. It was in pharma, and I had spent my entire life working in project management on the IT side or the health IT side. And, I was in my mid 40s, and I just said, either you're going to jump in and you're going to learn to do this thing in other areas, or you're going to shrivel up in this one area. And so I jumped into what I don't know. And, things went well on that engagement. And then 2 years after making that transition, the owner of the company came to me a week after my birthday, no less, and said that God shared with him that he was supposed to transition the company over to me. And this blew my mind. you know. I totally wasn't prepared for it, but I told him, my response was, well, I'm glad God told you. Now I need to fast and pray, make sure God told me the same thing.
I
And
need to hear it too.
he was like, take your time. Because God told me back in like May, like 3 months before. And I'm like, oh gosh, okay. And then, as they say, the rest is history. So
Mm.
that's how I got here.
What an amazing and beautiful story. So people seeing you today as a president and CEO of project management now have no idea that you started as a volunteer. Volunteering
Yeah.
your free time, the little bit of free time you had as a mom, right? Doing working
Yes.
weekends and evenings after you really work your full-time job, after, while you're still taking care of your family and the kids were young back then. And you
Yes.
all of that, it might seem like, oh, so minuscule per se, but those are the seeds that you planted,
Yeah.
right? To get
Right.
to where you are now. And that leap of faith, even to say, okay, I don't know anything about pharma, but I'm gonna jump into this and and do this now and do it scared. And
Yes.
just 2 years
Exactly.
after taking on that big project, the owner comes and says, hey, you know what? You're doing so great. Like even
Right.
guys like, heavens are agreeing with me that you're the next leader.
Exactly.
And here now you
Exactly.
sit as the president CEO of the company that you started as an employee, but even the field that you started just as a volunteer.
Yes. And I had an epiphany maybe like 2 years ago.
Mm.
Um, I was sitting here and I was thinking about where I was and reflecting, like, how did I get here? Right. And I started to like fill out a form because I was like doing some of the business side, the administration, and they were asking for, like your experience and things. And I found that the things I could go back to the beginning of my career. There was something, and even in those volunteer positions, there was experience that I gained that I could use to reference in that moment. And it just let me know. I can remember thinking when I was younger that my time was wasted, or that I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do at that appointed time, or I should have been doing more. And it showed me that you are exactly where you need to be. Take the time, be present in that space, and learn all you can, because it will come back up. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that is great advice for anyone in transition right now. Anyone maybe just starting out in college. You and I both have young kids, who are, and young adults, and so who are trying to find their way. So that's really great advice. And with
yeah,
the way this economy is going, I have clients and friends who have lost their jobs that they put in 15 years in, and now they're trying to literally reinvent themselves. So
yeah,
what the point you're making about don't lose sight of all the seeds you planted back then, all the learning experience you've had, all the volunteering, mentoring, anything that, any opportunity where you were able to learn and grow, that is skills that can transition into the next phase of your life, your next season of your career. So I love
absolutely,
that. I love that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so doing all of this, PM now and, evolving towards excellence, being a mom and all the other things in between, how do you balance it all?
Well, I mentioned that I'm a woman of faith, and I got to start there, right? If I'm not grounded in my faith, and what I mean by that is not just picking up the Bible and reading it, but understanding that I am not the source. I don't have all of the knowledge. It doesn't rest with me. That keeps me really grounded. But as well as I'm not the source of all the knowledge, I am connected to the one who has all the knowledge. So making sure that I am spending my time and I am humbling myself before God and I'm putting God in his rightful space
Mhm.
above everything, every business decision, my parenting, all of it. Lord, you're at the top of my day. Have your way here. That's how I start. Outside of that, the next biggest thing for me would be prioritizing your mental health. So as you mentioned, I believe in therapy and I believe in it deeply. I've got the best therapist this side of creation. So um I value that. I think it's important, especially in this role, and even before I got this role, to speak with somebody who can help you heal from your past trauma so that you can show up as your best version of yourself in your current, in your present and in the future, right? So many times we try to tuck our traumas in and then we're walking through life, you're traumatizing other people because you're traumatized.
Mhm.
So I think it's important to have, a good therapist, somebody that you're vetting that with. The next step for me is going to be good mentorship. I believe there is an invaluable education again in those who have gone before you have learned. You need to learn how to learn from other people's mistakes,
Yes.
So I keep a good gang of mentors around me. And then also, I think I'm always in a position to learn. So what does that mean? I challenge myself to read or listen to a book a week pertaining to business, something that's going to impact me, not just something to check the box to say I read a book, but something that's going to help me impact the business. Um,
Mhm.
so I feel like in that way, I'm still learning, and then I look at challenges as it's not like I just got to get through this, but how can I approach? It's more of a school project. It's not something that's going to make or break me. I'm learning through it.
Yeah, yeah, that mindset is so, so important, right? Because we change
Mhm.
the way we look at things, the things at which we look at change. It's might the exact same situation, but now you're approaching from a different perspective because your mindset has shifted, to something more helpful. So
Yeah.
yeah, great insight there. And I love that you mentioned about therapy, about mentorship, and continue to learn because often what I've seen with entrepreneurs, people get this vision like, oh yes, I'm gonna do this business, this is what I need to do, X, Y, and Z, and they start the business plan, they get the funding, they launch the business, and they forget that they are the business, right?
Yeah.
And many of us have led our businesses from places of trauma that we have not healed from. And then sometimes I also see people when they start leading and then realizing, oh, this is not working, that's not working. We think, well, we need a new funnel, we need a new, marketing system, we need a new CRM, like all these other tools. And we
Yeah.
forget again, unless we are well, we cannot do well, we cannot work well, we cannot lead well. So taking care of our own mental health, our own well-being is very, very crucial. And even when we are like, well, we're at the point where I think, well, I'm doing pretty well emotionally, mentally, I'm doing well. But in order to do the next big thing, we need others who have been there, who can walk with us on that journey, others who are holding us accountable, others who are reminding us to shift our mindset every once in a while, right? So coaching is kind of, some people might say, I don't need therapy. Yes, but maybe you don't. You still need coaching as a leader. You need to be coached, you know, in those roles. And sometimes people, it's not always, and I know, I have multiple clients that our relationship is fluid. Some people come and they work on a big thing and then they're gone and they come back when something else happens, or so they need more support. And some people, are with me and they're meeting with me once a month, sometimes for a checkup, because
Right.
realizing that they need the accountability and the support for them to
Yes.
continue to be well as they're working well, doing well, and so they can lead well. So, thanks for, again, shining light on that. And you mentioned those challenges. When challenges come, then you look at it from a different perspective because your mindset has shifted. So, as a business owner, as a Black business owner, as a woman in business, right? What are some of the challenges that you might have encountered? And you don't have to give too many detail, but just kind of the overview of it. And in spite
Sure.
of those, what has kept you going? And I know that faith is important to you, and I'm sure that plays a part here too.
So I think being fully transparent, the biggest thing that I've had to deal with is imposter syndrome. You
Mm,
know, always being in my head about, do you have the qualifications to do this? Do you know enough to do this? Can you really do this? And it's interesting the way it shows up because it doesn't take into account the thing, your resume, which you have accomplished, right? It's always right now, it's like the slate gets wiped clean, the resume is totally blank, and it's as if you have nothing,
mm,
you know. So for me, it's leaning in and, you know, when those voices come, you know, having things around, rather verbal, you know, or audio rather, or a Bible verse or something to kind of let me know that that's not who you are. You can do this. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other. You'll get through it, you know. And I'm one that realistically looks at failure. Failure is not like, you know, the worst thing. It's a lesson to be learned. You've learned how not to do it, you know. So that's something I've dealt with is the imposter syndrome. What keeps me going is because I know that I've always said to my children, they can't say the word can't.
mm,
So I live my days in this role with you can't. You cannot, you can, that is not an option. There, it can't be a can't in your vocabulary. You will, you know. And then for anybody who knows who Yoda is, Yoda says there is no try, there's only do and do not,
mm.
you know. So I feel like I make that decision early in the day, you know, that there's no other options, that you've got to do this. No matter how painful it is, you're going to persevere because, you know, triumph, victory comes on the other side of that.
Mhm.
Uh, some days it's easier than others, you know, but I don't want to give up on myself. I want to lead by example. My team sees me doing really hard things, being outside of my comfort zone. I ask them to step outside of their comfort zone too. And this is what keeps us going and showing up in excellence.
Yes, beautifully said.
Mhm.
And if I might go a little deeper with that, and
Sure.
again, share what you're comfortable sharing. Well, with dealing with the imposter syndrome, obviously you know you've been conquering it because you're here. You know the business is growing and you're doing bigger things, and you know than you've done if since even started, right? You and I know that. But for others out here, you know, who might be kind of struggling with the same things, and I know you shared how you're overcoming it. What if? But I wanted to shine some light on how coaching has helped you to do more, to do well in spite of, right? And even in some ways, like, you know, help you start overcoming, you know, the imposter syndrome.
Absolutely. Well, one of the best exercises I received from you was kind of writing a declaration statement of who I was. And when we really started to work on like the imposter syndrome and how I was showing up, you said, well, this is who you used to be. You can write who you used to be, but who are you becoming? And I'm a very deliverables oriented person, especially as a project manager. And it was, you know, when we first started out, I know you remember me saying, hey, give me some homework, you know, like, let me do my homework. But that task, it's still a work in progress,
Mhm.
you know. Um, I think it's important for each person to look at where we are honestly. And then, so I think the first part was recognizing where I came from and putting that to bed. I called it giving it a funeral, right?
Mhm.
I saw where I was, but I also saw where I wanted to be. And
Yes.
so writing that out and starting to understand what it takes to get there. And it's not all at the same time. You're going to reach one area a lot faster, and another area is going to be an area of growth. But if you have that at the ready, when you start to hear, oh, you can't do this, oh,
Mhm.
you're not, you know, you don't have the quals for this, you know, you pull that up and say, okay, well, I may not have the qualifications now, but I can get the qualifications. I know who to talk to kind of get me on the right path. I know I can learn this. This is not outside of my reach. It is attainable.
Yeah.
But when I didn't have something tangible that I could go to, then the thoughts would just kind of take me down the do loop, right? And I would get trapped in it and not be able to see my way out.
Mhm.
So that has been really important. Again, I think that just having a good coach that you can go to and that you can vet it. The most important thing I want to say about that is a lot of people think it's important to, have a therapist or a coach just to say that. You have a responsibility to show up and to be
And do the
honest.
work.
Right, you've got to do the work. And it's not just meeting the hard things, but the key word for me is being submitted. You have to
Mhm.
be willing to come into the session and bear yourself. You can't be guarded and expect any type of transformation. It's not going to work. You've got to come in and bear yourself, the good, the bad, and the indifferent. And
Mhm.
then you've got to be quiet and listen to what is being told to you, what you're hearing. And then when you hear something, even if it stings, you need to process it and then you need to be submitted to do the thing. This is how you get past a space. If not, you're just having a conversation with someone and staying in the same spot. What's the fruit in that? There's none.
Right. Right.
You
That's a
know?
waste of everybody's time, right? Your time and the person supporting you. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's what's helped me.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that I would not be the person I am now and
Mhm.
have the capacity to handle the things that I do had I not had you in my corner.
Don't
Even
make me cry.
I
That's
know
just
that
not just the two of us. Whew. Yes. Thank you.
I
Thank you.
know that
It is it's been a joy, honestly, a joy and an honor to support you. And this is the part that many leaders don't get. It's like even for myself, as much as I support others, and I get support so I can continue to do more and be more so I can do more. And
right.
I love how you talked about doing the work and coming pretty much coming naked when and unashamed or bringing the raw emotions, the fears, and be able to
Yeah.
actually lay it out. And so many times I talked to someone else just yesterday saying actually when we do that we're taking our power back, instead of
Mhm.
focus on what does the other person think. Obviously if you're paying someone or even just someone's mentoring you, they're supposed to be there to support you, and you're worried about what they're thinking about you when you're sharing, then that's not the right person for you.
Right.
Definitely
Exactly.
there's no trust there. So
Yes.
but once that trust is established, realizing that when you're sharing about those raw moments, those things that are hard, those fears, you're actually taking the power back from those fears. Like I'm in control. I'm realizing, I know that this is happening, but this is not who I want to be, like you said, right? And being able to then, from that point, create a new reality. Who am I now, and what I do? Who do I want to be? And then that's when your guide, your coach, your mentor helps you to then establish, what do I need to get to that vision of the person I need to be? Because it's good to set goals as a business owner. It's good to set goals as entrepreneurs, professionals. But unless you are someone new, the new things you want to do are just dreams. Honestly, they don't become a reality. We cannot have unless we become.
Yes.
And that's the part of, kind of shedding the old versions of ourselves who no longer serves us. And there's sometimes we went back to the old version and say, oh, this was a good skill. This was a good resource that I can bring into my new identity to help
Yes.
me achieve the new goals that I have. But I'm not dragging everything and anything. I have to be now selective because this vision that's bigger than me requires a bigger me, right?
Yes.
And a better
Yes.
me. Yeah.
Yes. Well
Yes.
said. Well
Yeah.
said.
So you support a lot of businesses, you support a lot of people, both through PM Now and evolving towards excellence. If you don't mind just sharing a little bit of what each company does, who are the type of people that you're serving, so people who are out there or over businesses who need your services will know about it, and that so they also know how to support you and support your work.
Okay, sure. So project management now works supporting federal contracts as well as state and local, private sector as well. So I mentioned pharma earlier, but any sector where you have a functional project running, project management now can help you. So we specialize in all things project management. And what that means is setting up a project management office or AMO, Agile Management Office, to reviewing your finances associated with the project, right? Our niche area is something called earned value management, which is kind of the measure between scope and your finances and the actual deliverables, your performance. So making sure that you're handling and you're getting through your projects on scope, in budget, and on time.
Mhm.
Um, and then anything. So whether it's process improvement or you have training needs, whatever that is, that we can come alongside you and we can support you in that endeavor. Whatever your need is. We're pretty malleable. And we also have a wide network of partners. So if you need something that's specialized in IT, we can assist with that as well. Custom CRMs, whatever it is, whatever your need is, we can support with that. And then evolving toward excellence. Where do I start with what that is? So this was my way of kind of introducing myself to the world. I thought it was going to be something totally different. I thought I was just going to go in there and do like a cute parenting blog almost. But what it turned out to be was something so much more. This was me kind of starting the first steps toward healing my trauma from my childhood. It was where I introduced myself to the world and also gave my perspective on how I saw that I had strayed away from church and I thought I had strayed away from God, but God was with me the entire time. So it's my testimony is what it's turned out to be. It's still a work in progress. I'm still plugging away at it little by little. But in that space, I'm available to come speak to an organization, share my testimony because I'm a firm believer that if God could do something with me where I came from, he can absolutely do it for you. It doesn't matter that your path wasn't straight. If there's a God, and I know there is, he can turn it around for his good.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. And so
Mhm.
where can people find you and
Sure.
connect to what you're doing?
Okay, sure. So we can be found, Project Management Now, that is, can be found on Instagram at PMNow_social. And we can be found on Facebook and LinkedIn at capital PM Now. So you can connect with us there. Evolving Toward Excellence, you can find me on www.evolvingtowardexcellence.com.
All right. Thank you so much for all the ways that you show up, right? And as you're showing up, and it's just, like I say, watching you grow, it's such a beautiful journey, but it's the impact. It's not just, you and as an individual. That's been great, but even greater is the impact that you're making, both, in PM now and evolving. And so thank you again for showing up, for serving, for literally making a difference and making an impact in this world. I appreciate you and thank you also for just this time. I know you're very busy, so make the time to just chat with me. I am honored.
Oh, thank you. The honor is all mine. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, and welcome. And for everyone watching, thanks again for joining us today. Thank you for always, checking in here, listening, watching, supporting. And as always, if this conversation has helped you or can help someone else, please share it out with others. Let's share the wealth. Let's share the resources available here to help all of us be well, do well, work well, and lead well. Until next time, I am Chou Allegra and checking off. Thank you for tuning in to the Chat with Chou podcast. We hope today's episode inspired and informed you on your journey towards growth. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Follow Chou Allegra on social media to stay updated on upcoming episodes and more resources. Until next time, take care and keep striving for well-being and belonging in all areas of your life.